Guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here not for a full face, but almost a full face to review the brand. I think it's pronounced Florasis. Florasis, I think it's Florasis. And this is a brand that is known for the beauty of its packaging, which I will show definitely as we go. But just so you can see a couple of the palettes, how absolutely beautiful they are. The intricacies of the designs on the product themselves, in my opinion, is unmatched. Just absolutely gorgeous. Definitely a display brand, especially like the foundation bottle when I get to that. I mean, I certainly don't have another foundation bottle this pretty. It would look beautiful sitting out on a vanity along with the other products from this line. But up until they sent me these products, because they did, this is not sponsored. They didn't even ask me to do this video, but they did send me the products. And up until then, I just knew them as being very pretty. I had no idea how the products actually performed themselves. So this is me testing them out. This is a first impression. I've not tried any of these products. So while I definitely have my opinions as I go through the demo, I will also list down below, especially for the foundation, how it wore throughout the day and my final thoughts. But I do have some thoughts as I go along in the demo as well. Florasis is a Chinese company, but from what the website says, you can get all these products with a 3 to 5 day delivery. So let's go ahead and jump in and start playing with these products and see what I think about them. Okay. I have been out and about this morning quite a bit already, running some errands, but all I had on was my brows and prime my eyes. So I'm gonna put some Skin Food corrector on quickly to try to help out some of these dark circles before we jump into foundation. The first thing we are going to start out with is foundation. I know I spoke about packaging in the intro, but honestly, that is like the standout in this brand is how absolutely gorgeous the packaging is. And I can say without a doubt that I do not have another foundation bottle that is even close to this beautiful in my collection. I mean, just the attention to detail, the color, the shape of the bottle, everything. Perfection. This is the Balancing Fitting Liquid Foundation. It is 1 ounce, and these are like, it's an example of the boxes that they come in. Again, so pretty. This is $59. It comes in 15 shades, and they sent over the shade N30, which is described as light with warm undertones. When I first pumped this out, I was like, oh, this might be a little too light. Then I kind of like spread it around my hand, and I'm like, well, okay, maybe it might work. It might be a little lighter than what I'm used to, but hopefully it's going to work out. It says it's suitable for all skin types. It claims to be buildable and a perfect four-part balance of oil control, hydration, longevity, and smoothness. Shine-free, non-drying, breathable, blendable. It is infused with botanical essences, lotus flower, Paris polyphylla, which helps your skin stay hydrated, balanced, and protected against free radicals. Now, when I look at the ingredients, I really don't see anything that stands out as bad to me. There is mica in this. There is macadamia seed oil. So for some reason you are, allergic or sensitive to that, but that's the only oil that I can see in this. And then there are a couple of extracts towards the bottom of the list. So let's go ahead and start applying this. I'm gonna start with 1 pump. That is the texture. It's a little bit thicker. It's not running down my hand, but I wouldn't necessarily call it like moussey. It's just a little bit of a thicker formula. And it does specifically say on the site that a little goes a long way. That's why I'm starting with 1 pump to see. I'm gonna use this new brush I got recently and I've been liking. It's the Ulta Beauty Large Paddle Foundation Brush. So I'm gonna use that to kind of stipple that onto the face. So again, that was like half a pump. And I do have my Ultraviolet Matte Lean Screen Foundation on today. Okay, so this is 1 pump of the foundation. I can definitely still see some redness, so we are going to work on building it up and see if that claim is true. It is a little bit lighter than I typically go with foundations, but I do think it's gonna work. So again, I'm gonna take a little bit more And I'm gonna actually use a different brush. I'm gonna use my It Cosmetics 115 because I really like this for building up foundations, because you really truly can just stamp it into the skin. Okay, so it built up a little bit, but I'm gonna see if I can have this come across on camera. And I don't know if you'll be able to. It is almost, it's kind of separating a little bit where I built it up, which is just, again, here like on the higher cheekbones where I have the most redness today. And I don't know if that's going to come across or not. I think once everything else is done, it's gonna be fine. That's just my initial observations. And I think I probably used about 1.5 pumps for the entire face and neck. And if I have anything left over, I'm just gonna go ahead and take it down the neck. They do have other foundation formulas. They have some cushion foundations, which I love a cushion foundation. So I'm kind of tempted to try one of those. And while this color is going to work, I do think if I were to have chosen one myself, I would have gone maybe a shade darker. The one they sent over is the Gorgeous Peach Blossom Powder. I actually cannot find this one on the website, but they do have multiple different powders available. They even have a tinted powder, and they range between $36 and $49. This is actually a loose powder, and it took me a hot minute to figure out how to open this. So you push, first of all, this is the packaging. Very, very pretty. You push this kind of gold button and then twist, and then it pops up. I almost broke the packaging trying to figure it out. It does come with a puff, and then you lift this almost like a cushion foundation, and you have a little cushion trampoline, and the powder is inside of that. So I'm gonna start by using the puff that it comes with. Pick up the product, and then just tap it into my skin where I like to have the most amount of powder, which is in my T-zone. It is taking down any shine that was on the face, but it doesn't look heavy. So that's with the powder and the foundation. I do feel like the separation that I saw happening has kind of righted itself. I don't see it as much now. And I don't typically love a puff with a powder, but I actually like this one. So let's get some color on the face and talk about the Makeup Relief Palette, which is in this gorgeous turquoise teal packaging. And when you open it, you have a powder, like a regular powder. You've got a highlight powder, a contour bronze, and a blush. I also can't find this exact palette on the website. I may not be looking for it correctly, but they do have another one that's similar, just it's different shades, but it's a similar setup, and it's $49. So this powder right here is actually just a powder. On swatching it, which, I mean, do I even want to swatch it? Look at the embossing. I've probably already showed y'all this, but oh my goodness, it's like I don't want to use it. It's so pretty. But it is just like a regular powder. So, you know, if you wanted to skip the loose powder and just get something like this, then you will have it all in one. I'm going to start out with this shade down here. Now, it's not as warm as I typically go for when it comes to bronze shades, but we'll see if it works. The only thing I don't love about palettes like this is that you really do have to have the right kind of brush to be able to pick up the product and not pick up the products around it. So I'm going to use my Rephr 24 and hopefully just get this bronze color, which definitely is more of like a contour shade. There is not much warmth to it at all, but it's applying to the skin nicely, and it is not as gray, cool toned as I felt like it was going to be, which is good. However, I would not say there's much of any warmth to the shade. And don't you worry, I'll be buffing this out. Big time. So we have a couple of options when it comes to highlight. We have the highlight that is in the face palette. And then they also sent me a separate highlight, which is called the Twin Lotus Relief Luminous Glow Highlighter. They have 2 shades in this, and they sent me Amber Glow, which is the darker of the 2 shades. But it's this beautiful peach highlight, while the one in the face palette is more of a champagne. Now, I love a peach, and when swatching this, I do feel like it's not too dark, so I'm going to use this on my Rephr Holiday brush. Put that on the tops of my cheekbones. That's pretty. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Like that a lot. Now let's get some blush on the face, and we're going to use the kind of neutral, little bit peachy bronze shade in this palette. And I'm going to see if my normal blush brush will fit in there. You do just have to be careful to not, it wouldn't be a problem if I picked up this powder with the blush, but I don't want to pick up a ton of that highlight because this is a matte blush. It's a very pretty shade. These powders are definitely pigmented, but I do feel like they're buildable too, like a little too pigmented. So we're gonna buff, okay? I'm gonna use my Hourglass, and I'm really gonna go towards the bottom of where I put that bronze contour shade and just smooth it out some. See how that works? Super like harsh because I just went in too hard on this side. And then once you buff it, it's like the way you want it to be. And we are gonna go on to eyes, but first I've gotta get something on these lips. Let's talk about the lip that they sent me. This is actually a liquid lipstick. It comes in 8 shades for $29. The shade they sent me is Sandalwood, and y'all, it's just honestly not something that I think I would ever be comfortable wearing, so I'm not going to apply it today, but I will show it to you. This is the on brand, very pretty packaging. And this is the color. It is a dark brown. Do you see why I probably wouldn't be comfortable wearing this? There are some people who can pull this off and it looks great. I just am not one of those people, but I did want to show you. And they do have 8 shades. They don't really have any light shades that I could see, but there are different shades than just that brown. I actually really like how the skin looks with everything on it now. Okay, let's talk about, in my opinion, the star of the show, the eyeshadow palette. This is the Floral Engraving Phoenix Makeup Palette, which they have 3 of these in the Phoenix Makeup Palette kind of line. And this is Soaring Sunlight. Oh my word. These are right up my alley with colors. I love this color. I love that it's the biggest color. I actually even really love the green and the blue. I think I might even play with the green a little bit today. There's not a color in here that's not pretty. They have 3 matte shades. This one right here, and then these 2 right here, and the rest are a shimmer sheen shade. These are $59, and again, they have 3 options. They have a retro brown, a gold brown, and then the Soaring Sunlight, which is what I have. So let's go ahead and start with this lightest brown matte shade. I'm gonna put that in my crease. So this is the number 15. So I'm just going, I mean, I hate to even use this. The engravings are so beautiful. So it looks a little bit darker on the brush than it does in the pan. So I'm gonna lightly start to apply that to the eye and see how pigmented it applies. There's not a ton of kick up. There's a little bit when you first apply the product to the brush, but these are more of a hard pressed shadow. I'm gonna put some swatches of this entire palette up so you can see that the shimmers, a lot of them are more like a topper shade versus a very opaque lid shade, or what I would use on the lid. The peach shade in the middle is probably the most opaque when I swatch them. So that's what I'm going to use on the lid to start. And I'm just going to use a rougher number 2. I'm going to start with the brush and see if I feel like it needs to be amplified with the finger. Now, when you do put a brush in some of these, especially the ones that have more of a design in them, some of the elevated parts of that design do tend to break away, which is just sad because it's so pretty. But if you do want this to be something that is of use, that's going to happen. So this is translating, it's a little duochrome in the pan. It's translating a little more gold on the eye than peach. It is laying down nice with a brush, but again, I will go in with my finger in a minute and see if I can even boost up that color payoff a little bit more. So just take a little bit on the finger. And yeah, that's definitely, as is the case most of the time, you are going to get more payoff using your finger with shimmer slash metallic shades than using a brush. I am going to take a little bit of that darker brown on a refer number 1 and use that in the outer corner, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take that same shade on a refer 29 and do like a little bit of a light liner. Now you can also use these wet if you want even more color payoff. And I think I'm going to do that for my lower lash line, which is where I'm going to use that beautiful green. So I'm going to take a pencil brush, spray that just a little bit with like setting spray, hydration spray, doesn't really matter, just water if you want to. And pick up some of this green, and we're going to see how pigmented that is for this lower lash line. Not very. Like I really thought that it would be more intense than that. Like I don't even know if it's, I think it's coming across a little bit, but it's not what I thought it was gonna be. I realized I never put anything on my lips. I talked about needing to put something on my lips and I didn't. I'm just gonna use my Fit Glow Serum in B. That feels better. Okay, so not overly impressed with that green shadow. And to be quite honest, I feel like as a whole, the eyeshadow palette was a little underwhelming to me. It's absolutely beautiful in the presentation and the design. And if you are a person that likes to collect beautiful makeup and not use it and just look at it, you know, by all means. But I definitely have better quality shadows with better payoff than these. Not bad, just not what I was expecting. Okay, I put a little bit of mascara on and this is the finished look. I, of course, will put down, because I have not used these products before, in the description box how they wore. But upon very first impression, I do have some favorites and then I have some kind of like, they're okay. I would say probably my favorites, again, upon first impression, are actually the complexion products. I do like this foundation. Once I put my Hourglass buffing powder on, it helped warm it up a little bit and I'm actually very happy with the color now. I think that I would be even happier if I got like one shade darker in this, but so far it's looking very pretty on the skin. I also like the powder. I like how it applied with the puff. I'm excited to try this with other foundations and I will keep y'all updated on that. But I do feel like they look very good together, as they should. They're within the same line. And I will be keeping this and using this to mix with my other foundations that are too dark. I do like having a couple of too light foundations in my collection because I do have a few too dark ones. So when I mix them together, they end up being perfect. So I will be using this as a mixing foundation for sure. And I do love the highlight powder. I think it's very, very, very pretty. Again, I am a sucker for any kind of peach tone highlight, and the packaging and the product itself is beautiful. So those are my first impression likes / loves. And the two palettes are just okay for me. In fact, the face palette is not bad. The blush is pretty. The highlight is pretty swatched, and I don't actually mind the undertone of the bronzing contour shade. I haven't tried the powder, so I can't say anything about that. I don't think that the formulas are anything that are groundbreaking or that I haven't, you know, tried in other products, but I do think it's the prettiest face palette that I have in my collection, hands down. The eyeshadow palette is most definitely the prettiest eyeshadow palette that I have in my collection. However, it was the most underwhelming product that I tried for this whole look. Not bad, like I said in the demo, just not what I was expecting, a little underwhelmed. And aside from the fact that it's absolutely gorgeous, and again, the prettiest one that I have in my collection, I don't really feel an inclination to buy other ones. I'm not sad I have it, but out of everything, it was probably my least favorite. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I will have everything listed and linked down below. Let me know if you have any questions. Let everyone else know if you've tried this brand before and what your thoughts are. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.